Well, I usually listen to lo-fi when I'm writing in the morning.
Yep.
And I switched over to yours. And
Today.
what I normally listen to is like lo-fi video game music.
Yeah.
You know, just because I'm a big old dork.
Yeah.
Mostly Zelda stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of that
The
too.
first thing I thought when I put your stuff on was like, oh, this is Dark Link music.
Yeah, kind of a dark fantasy.
Honestly,
vibe.
that's the okay. Love it.
Ready? In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, and welcome to another special on-location interview episode of Rhythm and Wit. My name is David Steele, and with me, as always, is
Nick Campbell.
Today, we are at the lovely Mycelium Gallery in Oklahoma City, and we're talking to exmaxhina. Arman, how are you today?
Doing good. How are y'all?
Good.
It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's very windy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
But that's Oklahoma.
It's warm though. It's gonna be a warm weekend. So, we're here to talk to you about your music and to talk about tonight. Saturday, April 13th. On the date of this recording, you're gonna be playing Mycelium Sessions here. It's going to be the first session, a monthly series that you're doing. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, totally. So this is actually something that we started at the first gallery.
Yeah,
just
location.
to get used to what it would be like to do some sort of like sound painting. Essentially, just no beats really, that like a DJ show, you know how you go and mix a bunch of tracks together. And I think I could totally do that, but I think it takes away from the vibe. And actually, it was the first Mycelium Gallery show that I did, the first microdose show actually, that I kind of winged a little vibe, like maybe like a 2-hour vibe that I did, that was just ambient textural stuff. Because I ran out of music and I was like, I don't know what to do right now.
It all started from like a mistake or something in a way.
Exactly. And it actually was really neat being able to do that. And so I essentially re-recorded that same thing. And then I uploaded it on YouTube, which was super fun. And so I enjoy doing just elongated sets that aren't just straight music throughout, because I could kind of play with the machines too and get a feeling going, and then just see a reaction. That now, at least with this new space, there'll be other people doing art or expressing themselves in different ways, in different creative works, and I think it's going to be really neat to be able to influence that slowly. So
awesome.
What is sound painting? What is that?
So sound painting, honestly, it's been something that's been really neat to kind of put together. Now, there are different ways that people express sound painting, and so it's just creating music, but essentially what this is we react to whoever is creating some sort of artwork. So I always like to see what the crowd is doing and then respond that way, because I come from a house and techno background, and it was more so of I make a mix, I'll see how hype everybody gets. As everybody gets more hype, I change my mix, things like that. And it really is just like a feedback of how we can get more hype. But after doing this whole exmaxhina project at the gallery and doing just that first textural ambient set, I was able to almost free flow just ideas with different parts of my tracks, use all kinds of effects live, and just build an atmosphere. And that atmosphere is what was really exciting to create, because it wasn't something that I did often. Because I'm very by the book, production-wise, very meticulous with things. So I don't really try to stray away from just odd time signatures unless my brain can hear it when I'm producing. And so typically what I do when I perform live is I'll maybe pitch my track that I've produced down 6 semitones or something, or 5 semitones, and then I get a different feeling with it. Maybe I'll reverse it, so then I get different tonalities. And so because of just these candid moments, I wanted to just record all of these. And so I just started to do these sound painting or texture tapes, if you will.
that.
Yeah, and so that kind of links the texture tapes, and so I started creating those because I was like, man, if I can create a piece like somebody does with a visual piece,
but it's audio.
But it's audio, and you can see it like even down to the cassette where I create the artwork on top, and then I even record it myself in my own little machine in my room. You know, I do all the signatures, things like that. For me, it's a piece of work, but it adds an additional layer where you can hear it. You know, even taking it and putting it in a cassette player, that whole feeling is very
like,
nostalgic.
Yeah, and it's very like something it's not like you pull up your phone and hit play on an app. You know, it's like you're putting a tape into a machine and hitting play on the mechanical button.
Right, and then it becomes an adventure too, in a way.
Unique, I mean,
It has texture.
Yes, exactly. And when people listen to it for long periods of time, so I have like a playlist on my YouTube that has all of the texture tapes. You can listen to all of it, and it really does put you in a interesting headspace because a lot of the frequencies that I use a lot, you know, I'm not like an expert at it, but it's very binaural, so it kind of tickles the brain, but you can also feel heightened emotions or just different, you know, just by listening to it, because it really does kind of
it does something to your brain state, I think.
It does, and it has a lot to do with a lot of pitch bending, and then a lot of time changes.
Because it's like your brain is trying to anticipate something, like with music. I mean, we're both musicians, like live musicians, so like we've created a lot of music. I think a lot about music as art, and it's like music only exists. Music is like a story. A story doesn't exist anywhere besides like through time. You know, it's like you have to tell a story, and it has to have a beginning, middle, and an end, just like a song or any sound. I mean, sound doesn't exist anywhere besides you hear it. Here and it's gone.
Exactly.
So
and recently I actually discovered something, I think it's called neurographic art.
Yeah.
You're drawing lines, but you're not really trying to anticipate what you're really drawing. And then you want to go against what you usually would do, but no angles. Right, no solid angles.
Yeah, it's just all free-flowing.
Free-flowing, and I started to really understand that that's kind of what I enjoy, even with my visual art that I do. I do a lot of that in my music, I feel.
Yeah, similar thing.
Yeah, just to be able to create a moment that's not always the same, and that's kind of what the texture tapes are to me, is just a neurographic way of creating sound.
It's like a natural brain state.
Exactly. You live within a few parameters that the brain can catch on to, but then everything else is
just kind of comes
up
out.
In the air.
So you're pretty intentional. So like whenever you're setting up your music and you're setting the vibe, people come in and do their art. Are you intentional about like you're looking at their art and you're like, man, let me see if I can. Do you ever try to bend into your will?
So I do. So I know my whole entire discography. Usually, whenever I'm playing the music, I can understand what part or what frequencies really would push their emotions during that moment, and so I'll play certain tracks with interesting intros, outros, effects, and I'll just bring that out into the wild, you know, and just see how people respond and how they respond at least, and then just if they vibe with it, I'll just make it more intense.
Or
just
it's the same way you would do with your DJ in a club setting where you're kind of playing with the audience's kind of emotional state. I think to me, it reminds me, it's an interesting thing to hear you talk about the way you perform, because it's just like any performance or a lot of performances with comedy, right? Comedy, you're throwing something at the audience and reacting to them. They give you a reaction, you react back. I mean, and the only way to get better at that is to keep doing it. I mean, that's the thing with comedy, but also you've been doing it for so long, it's like you know certain things that you can do to maybe get a reaction that you know will get because you've done it for so long.
Well, it's like, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time when I was a kid, and
cards,
it's just a deck of cards, and you gotta have your strategy and For example, there's like a certain track I want to get to, or a certain vibe. So I have everything set up on my pads to where it's separated, and I know which one to reach to.
Yeah, you can get there in different ways. Even.
Right. And if I need to pitch it down or make it really slow and then build up to it, I can do that. But it's really versatile with the machines that I use. Like my whole setup, it's kind of what I pieced together with the SP404s, and that thing is amazing. So I use the SP404.
Like a sampler.
Yeah, it's a sampler that by Roland. And honestly, after I got the Mark II, that's when I started to utilize some of the effects in it, and that's when I could really start to do the textural ambient stuff.
Yeah. Where do you get the sounds that for the sampler? Do you record a lot of stuff? Do you go? I think because I know you travel a lot. Do you go? Record sounds in the wild.
I do. So I will either record a ton of sound out in the wild, or I'll just make it with any sort of DST. I'll just like play the notes, and I do a lot of destructive editing. So whenever I find maybe a piano or something, I'll maybe put a bunch of effects on it, maybe reverse it, chop it up, and then I'll add maybe some sort of texture to it, distortion or something, and then I'll sample that, and then I'll use that in a way.
Yeah,
so I try to
you keep pushing that even further.
Exactly. and really,
twisting it and
you just
messing
use a
with
few elements, and that's what I have a simple template for my music, and literally it consists of maybe a sine wave, synth, guitar, a Rhodes piano, and then maybe something else sometimes, or a bass guitar, or mostly bass guitar. And then I have my drums, and those drums I'll usually change up with some sort of effects, but most of the time when I'm doing sound design, I'll play a few notes, and I'll try to play within the groove, or maybe sometimes outside of the groove with each element. I'll finish a melody from one instrument with another one, just to kind of build a little bridge between elements, and then I'll start to layer it with different effects. And one thing I use a lot is Tree Tone from Ableton. So it's a really sick tool. That's where I get a lot of my chime sounds from. And I'll do a lot of pitch bending effects on those. And it's generative too. So you can just set your key, and then it'll just make different blips of sound, depending on whatever speed and parameters you set. So I do a lot of that, and I'll record it, and that's kind of what gives me that neurographic feeling of it. It's because it's never the same.
Yeah.
It's always something different, and so whatever chimes you hear in the beginning is different in the end. And so I'll literally go through and I'll create samples from my own music, and I'll put those on the pads, and that's what I use for sound painting. It's super
really
fun.
cool.
It's super fun because
you in the moment, are you just going off a feel, or are you making like intentional?
Yeah, so I try to go in a pattern. So the way that I have my music set up on my pads, at least, is I use, there's like this certain chromatic scale that you can set everything to, and I have everything in order from one scale to another, and so I can kind of play through some of the music so it sounds good depending on where I go. Just like DJing, when you mix between keys, you want to stay within like a certain range so it's not all of a sudden something random. When I do something like that, when I switch it up completely, I'll typically use a lot of effects, and then I'll add in chimes, something more textural stuff to give you that feeling of, okay, now it's a shift to something different.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's like creating a story, like you said. I went to film school for like 2 years for tech school, and honestly, man, just learning that and creating a story, storyboarding, things like that, that's what my favorite part of film was, just the storyboarding part, and seeing everything in a picture form, or just slide by slide.
Too.
Yeah, and I try to do that with my music too. I kind of see, okay, this is the feeling I want now, and then I'll respond to what I see, and I'll kind of evolve from there. Try to keep it organic, at least.
So how long have you been developing this craft? Or?
Yeah, how long have you been producing and DJing anyway?
So it's been since 2013.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
So 11 years.
11 years? Dude, you're a journeyman.
It's been a fun journey. I will say from 2013, it was a very different sound. I got into electronic music during the big room house boom, the dubstep boom, at least here in Oklahoma. And it was something very different. Going to the concerts and things, it felt like I wanted to become a more party-esque sound.
That's when you had just.
Yeah, and that whole period from 2013 to all the way up until Rosie Bones really was just like party music.
Yeah.
And when I started the Rosie Bones alias at the time, I think it was like 14 or 16, can't remember.
But a few years in, you started doing that.
I just wanted to make more of bedroom beats.
Yeah.
Just hip hop
like lo-fi
beats.
type
Yeah, well,
stuff, or no?
It was close. It was really close, actually. Now that I listen to the music, it's very similar. It's just the beat, the drums were a lot more heavier.
Okay.
And I think
so it's more like just traditional kind of hip hop beats, I guess.
Exactly,
for rappers
but more cinematic almost.
Yeah.
If you will.
Okay.
But it was an experiment for me, at least for a while, because I would make the bedroom beat stuff, and I dropped an album called Solstice. And that one it's actually still on streaming and everything. And it was more beats, but it was very simple. There's not a lot of textural work in that.
But it was kind of
project.
the beginnings of what you do.
Exactly. And so from that point, I did that for maybe 2 years, and then I started to get into DJing at clubs and things. And so it was like house beats. I got into a record label at the time, was Deep in Heat, and they essentially signed a few of my tracks, and I got into that whole world of DJing, and then just started playing local shows and things like that, and it was fun. It was cool, but to be honest, making a house track or a techno track, it was a bit of work, because you got to find a way to make it sound really different, and sometimes you have to really try, because there's so many artists making it right now, and it's pretty poppin'. Like, not gonna lie, a lot of clubs play house and techno music now. At least in Oklahoma, there was just a sporadic explosion of just all of these clubs and spots that started to do it, event centers, and it was cool. I was down with it.
Yeah, you had plenty of work, or
we even started our own production thing, Pandora's Box, where we would bring shows and do like underground techno stuff, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, it was all building.
And you know what's crazy? It's like some people didn't think it was real, but it definitely, a lot of people that are close to me, they actually were affected by it, and so it was real to a lot of people, and so it was like this constant anxiety of, man, can we do this, can we do that?
Like, what can you do?
There was a point in time for 6 months where we were just grounded, right? And we're not traveling for work or anything like that, and that was that moment where, and that was like 3 years ago almost, where I had a shift in my perspective on what I wanted with music, because before it was, I want to be able to sell out concerts, this and that. It was just the.
I think it seems like you were back then before, and it's like the difference now is like you were making it for other people and not for yourself.
Right, 100%.
You were like, especially when you're making, like you said, the house beats and house tracks.
It was for
like,
that feeling.
You were struggling because it wasn't coming from you. It was because it's like trying to focus on what they wanted.
Exactly, and that's what the record label grind was.
Yeah.
The moment that I was getting my music on Beatport and things like that, everybody was like watching and trying to make sure that you make the best music. That took a lot of time, effort, and then even my motivation just dwindled. And honestly, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me at the time. And I mean, I have a lot of my friends are still producing house and doing really well in the scene and performing and things like that. But it just wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah, especially if it's not, and you're not going to have the drive. You need to have something in you that's going to drive you to keep making this art.
Exactly.
And this is what I think you found with Ex Machina, and this kind of pure expression of your sound and exploration of that soundscape.
Yeah, no, 100%, because it was just a random day that I was chilling at home editing photos when I was just thinking, what if I created some music that I could just edit to?
Something that you could zone out to.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of when I started to listen to lo-fi music more, and I'm like, okay, I can make some beats like this. This is easy, because I came from the whole bedroom beats.
You already had the skills and knowledge.
Yeah, and I have a heavy influence from artists like Bonobo. Emancipator. very trip hop,
Yeah.
down tempo stuff, and that's kind of what I wanted to merge with lo-fi beats.
Yeah.
And really, I just started to experiment with my first album, which was pretty fun, but it was just like the beginning. There was not a lot of sound design.
That was the first Ex Machina album?
Yeah, actually, that's the, okay, Equinox. That was the first album. Okay, so Equinox was my first album, A World Without was the second, Sunshine Suicides was the third, and Midnight Elevators was the most recent one. I'm currently working on a new one right now. I don't know what it's called. I've got a few singles out on it, but yeah, the sound just kind of grew from the first album. You can hear it on the second album that it was really when I started to add the chimes and the glitches.
Yeah,
and
you kind of finding your signatures.
Yeah, to venture into it, and so that was like a really nice stepping stone. And when I did Sunshine Suicide, that for me was a moment where I was trying to get through a weird plateau phase. So I was creating a lot of the music, but then I didn't know what it needed. And
You're trying to push through something.
yeah, exactly, and that's what Midnight Elevators came through, and that was more of like my elevator to where I wanted to get to.
That was probably one of my favorite. I listened to most of them, but not, I mean, especially whenever we started working together on their videos, I was using it a lot in their videos.
Yeah, dude.
But I think that Midnight Elevators was the one that stood out to me.
It was very calming, but also very different and trippy and binaural. I think I really was trying to get better at my mixing technique. And I think that period in time was when I actually got better, because now I'll listen to Midnight Elevators versus my new music that's actually out right now. Man, it's such a difference.
Tell,
Holy smokes, yeah. It's pretty wild, but the 1 year difference that it took for me to learn how to mix and master my own music the way that I wanted to on speakers and just in general, man, it's grown as a sound, and some of the new stuff sounds
I feel like
wild.
you've gotten more clarity with how you want to express yourself with it?
Yeah, without taking away from the actual music, because I think before, even all the way up, like all the previous years when I would try to make something that was big and amazing or energetic, I would try certain mixing techniques that would essentially make the low end bottom out or something bottom out, and the mix and master was just terrible. And when you would play it out live, it would be so quiet and itty bitty compared to everything else. And I'm like, I could have sworn that it was good, you know. But now that I know how to do it, it's been pretty insane, because now I can minimal effort, because the way that I mix, you know, when I start mastering things, it just hits really nice, at least for me. And so it's been really fun just playing things out, and I'm growing and I'm learning every time I produce a new track. I learn even more and it gets better. And so, not to say that my stuff is really great right now, I know that in a year from now, whatever I do, it's going to sound even better than what I have now. And yeah, when people ask me what's your favorite tune, it's always the newest one that I
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good thing to be a fan of
That's kind
yourself.
of how I am,
Yeah.
I think, with my music or any music. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a battle of how you're perceived. Like, so, like, am I putting out what I feel is in my head, and
Literally.
that's literally the push and pull. It's like, how do I get that in their brains? In every art, I feel like, even in like conversation.
Yeah.
Like I have a hard
trying
time.
to express yourself. I mean, and get people to understand you.
It's all just a form of like, how do I get my idea in their head, get my feelings in there.
Yeah, and I think something it's wonderful that you said that, because one thing that I've learned from being at Mycelium Gallery was everybody has such cool artwork or expressive work, you know, and one thing is that you just want to evoke a reaction. And so whenever I started to do the textures and things like that, it's all about, I realize that a lot of people, there's going to be people that like it, that don't like it, you know, and some people that enjoy it, some people that don't. And even if they don't, it's still a reaction that I want, because I now know how your brain works almost. So it's like an experiment for me, and I understand like who flows with it, who likes it, who would enjoy it, who wouldn't like it. You know, even my close friends would sometimes tell me like, bro, that doesn't sound very good, right? But somebody else will listen to it and tell me that, bro, that is the most amazing thing ever. And I'm like, thanks, you know? And it's cool because you can see how somebody works or how somebody really responds, you know? So it's been pretty nice.
Dude, I love the idea that it's ever evolving. Like you're in it, hey, I'm gonna create this thing. You kind of know where you're going, but it's like, all right, well, and then somebody walks in the room and you're like, oh, Steve's here. He loves it when I do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, but it's also like when you really care about being a barista.
Yes.
And you're like, and I've been thinking more about this just as a human being. But like whatever we give attention to, it grows. You know, and so whenever you're sitting there and you're like, I'm a barista, I'm gonna make this coffee for this person that comes in every day, and I think they're just a beautiful existence, you know. And then you give it attention. You're like, I'm gonna really try. I'm gonna make a little heart. Hey, here you go. And they feel special that day. They carry it all the way through. And you're doing that with your music. Every time they show up, they're like, oh, you're intentionally, because of the room is different.
Yes.
You are creating an atmosphere that is different for the room. And in turn,
you're
that's
paying attention
creating on you.
It really does feel like that, because honestly, it's like a give and take kind of
Or
thing.
if you really hate somebody and you're giving them their coffee, you spit in and give, you know, it's all about attention.
Sometimes it just adds a little bit of flavor. But yeah, it's been exciting to be able to have a space like this, and the gallery and everybody that's here that has allowed that to happen, you know, because it wouldn't have happened without meeting Elena originally. You know, I was performing at the Yum Yum Smoke Shop, which was, I can't remember where it was.
A dispensary or something like that?
And they were just throwing shows, and they just invited me out to perform. And it was pretty cool. I got set up, my usual setup and everything, and I was just jamming. And then she came by and she saw the cassettes and everything. And she got one of the cassettes. But she just invited me to come through to the gallery and you know, perform at one.
So that was about a year ago, right? It was
the
first microdose.
Exactly.
That was the first time you performed there.
Yep, so. the microdose 1.0 show, and that was like a little bit over a year ago now.
That's interesting. I guess I thought you guys had known each other for a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, it's been quick, and I think that. It's been neat though, because we spent more hours here, and
I mean, you guys are very close as far as just you're always helping support this place so much. I think it's almost like you're one of a partner of it too, with the way you promote
I honestly don't do the heavy lifting like the ladies do here.
Of
you
course.
know, I'll try my best. You know, there are some amazing people that are here. You know, but I just try to cater at least towards the sound
just always
experience
like
and the
trying
vibe.
to be involved with it.
Yes, and I think that's where I enjoy being the most, is because it gives me the chance to free flow my ideas, but at the same time it's because, you know, I want to spread the sound and make it like a thing for OKC as well. I'm not anyone that's insanely huge in you know, popularity or whatever. Or I don't really care to be either. That's not my goal. I'm more so just wanting to share the sound, and you know, when you hear people with the East Coast sound, West Coast sound, you know, this or that, I want dark lo-fi glitch. What I try to push, even though what I do now, it's like an expanded version of that, right? I started in this like whole lo-fi and dark vibe with some glitchy elements, things like that, but After that, I was like, okay, how do I make it even better? And so I tried to bring high fidelity feelings into the music. And so that's when I started to do the binaural stuff, atmospheric stuff, things like that.
How do you, when you do the binaural, are you intentionally trying to do like fade?
Honestly, I do, so I do a lot of generative stuff, right? And so when I create the sounds, I'll do a lot of panning techniques using some tools that I have that'll really move it around the room. And I use some Odysseys, so Odyssey LCDX, the headphones that I use, they really kind of set a nice space. And so I'm really able to kind of make the atmosphere the way that I want it. And with the machines that I use, at least the SP404, so when you have surround sound set up, some of the effects really start to make it move around the room. And really, it's all doing it on the go, you know, just nothing really planned.
That's very
yeah, and it's super fun because I love twisting knobs. You know what I mean? From the DJ world, everyone's like, "Bro, you just press play." I'm like, "Yeah, I press play and I twist 3 knobs."
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know? But now I twist 12.
yeah.
It's like, come on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love the organic aspect of it too.
Yeah.
Just ever evolving in the moment. You do the tapes, you record them in the moment as well?
So that's what I want to do. So all of that stuff, so I actually record it digitally onto my computer. So I have a H4n recorder that I use, and I'll record it there, and then I'll create either a video, so I'll record the whole texture tape, and then I'll upload the video with it, and so I create my YouTube video.
Yeah.
But then I'll take that audio, and then I have my whole setup, my cassette tape setup that I'll make the cassettes, I'll get some printed artwork on it, and do the signatures and all that. Close it up because I've got
you
a lot
like
of
a date, time.
So I have them versioned actually.
Yeah, they're all like handmade, right? Each tape, right?
Yep, and then I'll signature the master tape. Usually I keep those.
Yeah.
but I create a second one for the gallery always.
Yeah, because they have some here that people can come in and listen to.
Yep.
Put them in. They can play with the tape player and stuff.
Exactly.
Has anybody ever offered just like, hey, can you make me a soundscape for a beautiful day? Like,
some people have asked me to just do that at some other spots and things. I've gotten offers from other galleries as well to come through and like do the thing, but it doesn't feel always right. Because
this is like you're exclusive to Mycelium Gallery.
It's been that way.
At least with certain
to a certain extent, like at least building that atmosphere here has been super fun.
But it's like this place. I think is a part of your sound too. I mean, for what it is, so it's almost like you need it.
Well, it's like this place helps me kind of grow into a better performer. So I'll do a lot of shows. I do a lot of 4-hour sets, 2-hour sets, things like that, in other places. Like actually pretty frequently.
Yeah.
I'll even do 1-hour sets, or we'll pop up randomly in the park, and we'll just do a 2-3 hour set somewhere. Bring a speaker, and I've got like a little battery pack that we plug everything into, and we have all the friends come through, and it's just like a vibe. And random people come through and just sit down, hang out. It's super fun, but it's very guerrilla music vibe. So
drum circle type.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody just brings either their samples or with the SP404 you can plug in your phone. So if you have things on your phone, like later I might even just plug in my phone. I've got some VSTs on there. I might play a few things. And, just kind of get a random vibe. But I think that's what this space lets me do, is to kind of try things.
Just
and I'll try new things and record them.
It's monthly.
So the sessions are monthly. I think it's like the second Saturday of every month. So we have 4 dates out right now, and then once we get close to the last date, we'll release another set of dates as well. And I think when Elena told me about the first time that they created the first gallery with Barclay, they literally made it with my tunes playing in the background. It's an amazing accolade, first of all, but second of all, like, I was pretty stoked because the space really felt like that. Even down to the artwork that I do myself, it really feels like the music too. That's kind of what I try to hit every time, and it's been really cool to be able to experiment in the space too.
Yeah, so you also do some visual art. I know you've been getting into that. Like when you're talking about with your lines and stuff, is that the kind of, you showed me some of your art before, is that what it was?
So I try to mix a little bit of neurographic, but when I draw, so I draw under a different alias, Rest in Pixels, R.I. Pixels. Yeah. And
check it out. I don't think I follow that. You have an Instagram account?
I do, but I haven't been posting a lot of my recent stuff. I'm slowly getting back into it, but I've been just really creating different pieces and a lot of line work. I do just random things, so I don't really know what I'm drawing most of the time. So I start off with maybe a random shape. It's like a thing that my aunt used to do whenever we were kids, is she'll draw a random shape, or I'll draw a random shape, and then she'll fill it in, and vice versa.
Oh yeah.
And then we'd try to fill it in, and so I would do that. But I would look really closely at one part, and then I'll just continue to draw lines, circles, things, and I try to make it organic, make it feel like something, or at least add something that I'm feeling into it, and then it becomes, after maybe a couple hours, it becomes like this alien world. But if you look at a different place, it maybe looks like a creature or something different, you know, and it just kind of goes in itself. Kind of like when Google started dropping those AI photos back when it first dropped, it was like all this crazy stuff was learning.
This weird stuff.
Exactly, when it was learning, it was like that. It's like that, really, and it feels cool.
But it feels like something is coming alive out of it or something
exactly.
that you didn't even plan.
Right, and sometimes I'll ask them, like, what does this look like?
Yeah,
and
it's
they'll
like
tell me
a
some most
blob
random thing
or something. Yeah, like
cool.
the whatever blob or
So
shack.
is this your main gig? Is this like what you do?
Yeah, so honestly, I try to, so I actually book days like 4 or 5 months in advance for the gallery.
Yeah.
Every other place, it's usually like a month or two in advance. I do have a few sets coming up. I'll be performing at the library for study sessions.
Yeah.
So students will come through.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's going to be Belle Isle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
The new one?
Yeah, I believe, I'm not sure.
Well, it's remodeled, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful over there.
Awesome. Yeah, and I honestly love going to libraries because that's where I grew up. Going as a
Nice.
kid, my mom would drop us off at the library for 6
just
hours.
hang out.
And to be honest, I would not read anything else but manga, but that's
That's still reading.
Yeah, I know. Literally.
I count it.
Literally, like we would.
Immersing yourself in culture.
Yeah, for real. And we would honestly go to Barnes and Noble as well.
Yeah, we used to hang out at Barnes and
but
Noble.
read all of the manga.
He used to work there
All of the,
in the coffee shop.
I'm just window shop.
That's where my coffee analogy came from. I used to be a barista.
Barista.
Yeah, not bragging.
Hey man.
And there was people that I cared about.
Yeah.
And not cared about.
the
You may have
smell,
spit in someone's.
something of the smell in Barnes and Noble with the coffee. It just hits.
The coffee and the paper. I don't know.
It's a good smell. Like that's a great combination. Whoever started that, you know, hands down to them. You know, because they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Because I love me some coffee.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess let's see. I think that's kind of everything that I wanted to talk about. I mean.
Well, what other? Do you have other? I'm surprised you don't do
Yeah, like
other
a
musical stuff.
instrument, like
So
a guitar.
we've been recently. I actually used to play guitar, but I'm terrible at it now. But recently, Paisley and I. So Paisley's a part of the the collective, Paisley Strange, and he builds all these strange instruments. Okay, and so we actually hung out the other day, and we started to just do like a tribal vibe session, kind of what I do for texture tapes.
But
and the sessions, but he was just playing his thing over it.
Yeah.
And it was really neat, and so we want to start doing that where we bring people in, kind of bring in instruments, or if you set up some microphones where people can contribute, and then create tapes of that session.
Have more people,
and everybody's contributed to it in a way, you know, where they can like actually say, hey, I did something. You know what I mean? And then you can sell it here for the gallery, you know, they can make some money or whatever.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just to kind of fund everything, because it really is, it feels like a collective, because everything here it took some work. And I'll say, I mean, even down to, I was here only a few days, but those few days I was scraping whatever from the floors, and man, I was getting a workout.
Yeah.
It was wild.
A lot of hard work.
All the dusting everybody did, and tearing down the walls, putting up the art, all the new stuff that's going to be getting built. You know, it's going to be a lot of work, and there's a lot of people that are here. There's like 30 plus people.
Yeah.
And it's been super cool to be a part of. Something that just is organic. Yeah, because it really does feel like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel fake or anything like that. And that was the kind of the idea behind the exmaxhina thing, was with Rosy Bones, it was all promoting and marketing from the label and this and that, and it felt fake. Versus now where it feels like I'm just meeting somebody, and then we link on Instagram or whatever, on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, that's
and,
the way
and it
you
just
grow.
grows from there. And all of those people that I follow are people that I worked with, spoke with, you know, or know their work.
Yeah.
It's been really cool just being able to do that. So
Yeah, focus on that aspect.
yeah,
not
you know, just make it natural.
And you met a lot of these people through the collective.
Yeah, there's a good amount of people, you know, that I've met through here.
I like the idea of you affecting a place and a place affecting you.
It's a constant back and forth thing, you know, and that's
There's not enough
kind
of
of the
that.
reason why they're doing the sound painting now.
Yeah, yeah,
It feels
that's a
that way,
new thing.
but it's super sweet.
Yeah,
think
so
that's
I don't know if we talked about that on camera. We talked a little bit about it before, but you guys recently did something with Elaine. Video you put on YouTube, on the Mycelium Gallery YouTube.
Yep.
'Cause I was looking for it on your channel the other day.
It'll
and I
be
was
up
like,
soon.
where- Yeah.
But I
But
wanted
it's
to
like, yeah,
leave
but
it up
it's, I
there.
like that crossover of having it on both even, because I love YouTube. I mean, obviously we.
Same. I'm
So,
from the
like,
YouTube generation.
I think
you know
it's
what I mean?
something that we don't, a lot of people around here don't use enough or, you know, utilize enough even. So,
Spend too much time on YouTube.
but it's,
hours.
What's
so.
your go-to?
Honestly, I just love watching random. I don't watch a lot of music stuff,
Yeah.
related stuff. Honestly,
Yeah.
I love learning though.
Yeah,
and so
like-
I'm always watching random videos of you like learning how to do something.
Mhm.
I was getting into 3D design for a while.
Yeah.
Or random just documentaries I've been enjoying, things that kind of tell a story regarding something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, you can
know,
learn something about.
Yeah, it's been nice because I also do a lot of videography and photography outside of my music stuff, and
Yeah,
I
that's
honestly
another art.
enjoy like just recording and doing things.
Yeah.
Even making the YouTube videos is kind of my way of just editing still.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's because you have, like you were saying, you have a ton of your sessions on YouTube,
yes.
on your YouTube channel. And,
Oh, probably over like 50
yeah.
hours.
Oh, nice.
Like you can listen to all kinds of, and they're all like 4 hours long, or you know,
Yeah,
hours
so I have the
of music.
sessions, and
yeah.
I
Some
upload
of
live
them.
jams too. So every time I drop a track that's released on my record label, so Distant Ether.
Yeah, just,
so that, like everything that's released under that label, I do like a live edit kind of, and then I'll upload it on YouTube, which has been super cool because
Yeah.
I can just do a random live slow chopped edit and then drop that alongside
Just
with the
have
actual
some
release.
new, yeah, like a different version of it or whatever.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I do them during the sets, but some
Right.
people don't really watch the 4-hour set. I'll just upload like
Yeah.
a one-track thing.
Right.
And I have a playlist of that, so I think I just uploaded the 70th one. Or actually, I'm on 69 right now. The 70th one comes out in a few days. So.
Well, you just mentioned Distant Ether Records.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
your
so
record label.
When did you start that?
So Distant Ether was actually started maybe like 2 or 3 months after I started my first exmaxhina track or two. The whole reason why I started the label was because I finished a few tracks, and then I sent it out to get some collaborations with some people to see if they were interested. And at that time, you know, I'm like almost eight years into production.
You've been, and you were doing stuff in a different genre.
Yeah, exactly. And
Before,
so
not having issues.
Right, and so I hit up a bunch of labels with the same mentality that with the house music and things like that. I was trying to send my music out, just trying to get people to, you know, bite, and it just wasn't hitting, man. And I don't know why it just got to me, and I was like really depressed for it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it clicked to me. I was like, dude, why am I not using that energy to do my own thing? If I have a week to just chill, I can use that week to create my own label, create my own visuals, create my own artwork, and literally upload all this stuff. And even if it's not an open label for other people to submit to, I can do it just for myself. Because I can have a whole discography of my stuff, right? And if I own 100% of my masters, which I upload my stuff on Web3 now, you know, it's so much more cool because I have the freedom to utilize the music in any of my videos. Because, dude, trust me, I hate those copyright strikes on YouTube or whatever. You know, because even on some of my own tracks with other labels, because I started releasing with other labels here or there, even with my exmaxhina project. But honestly, though, none of those tunes I can use in any of my sessions because my video gets flagged for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So I can only use distant ether music essentially. And so that's kind of now my go-to to upload my music is just on my own, you know, and it's been rewarding.
What's Web3?
So I release music on Sound XYZ. So that's like a crypto version of where you can drop your music.
Yes.
So Web3, you have to have a wallet, and then you can essentially upload your music to this Web3 platform where instead of using a DSP like DistroKid, where they're like, hey, here's an IRC code or whatever, you know, if you upload your music on the blockchain, it's essentially like the same thing from what I hear.
But it's tracking it basically in the same way that those codes do that they give you.
But you can add more benefits to it, almost like Patreon. So for example, if you have a track that you purchased from me, right, and I'm releasing this new track, I can make it to where anyone that owns that one other track can buy this early, right? And so you can add exclusivity. Some of my music that actually has benefits where you can send me music and I'll send you detailed feedback with like advice and then like even graphs and things that I use to mix my own music. And then I'm gonna do mastering services on future releases, things like that, where if you own this, you can get this.
Yeah,
and it's like a contract essentially. You know, like Patreon does when if you have a subscriber, you know, people can use
early access or something.
Right. And Web3 allows you to do that, and it's made me enjoy searching and buying music.
Yeah.
You know?
Is that where you purchase a lot of other people's stuff on there?
Yeah, and even artists that I support, just in general, people that I know, purchase their music. You know, it's cool because they'll buy my music. And honestly, I don't make a lot of money on streams to be because I've made like maybe $100 total in the last 2 years. But on Web3 in the last 4 months, I made like $350.
Nice.
You know, and it's like it's cool. You know, I'll take that money and I'll go buy other people's music.
Yeah.
So
or put it back into your art anyways.
Kind of like the gallery, you know, whenever I get paid, I'm like, oh, let me buy this art. Buy that art.
And then even all that, like more stuff that's going to inspire you to keep creating your art too.
Right, exactly.
Because again, it comes to doing what you love for you.
Yes, 100%. And I've met so many more cool people doing that than making music for others, right? When I started to do it myself, other people were curious, and they're like, hey, what do you got going on over here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, check it out. Yeah, and I'm very open about it, and I try to share and teach anyone that wants to give any sort of feedback if they need, but I just try to be me and just do my thing. And when I shifted my perspective and mentality to, okay, my happiness only is based off of if I can produce music and if I can enjoy it. And honestly, every tune that I make, I listen to my music more than anything else, right? My number one Spotify listener is myself. It's like 1,000 times everywhere. It's literally be your own fan and you'll make the best music. Because how do you top yourself, right? You just do better.
I heard this at the comedy festival I was in. We had a little seminar and the headliner, legit, pretty good, really good.
Big comedian.
But he was like, how do you expect anyone to listen to it if you won't?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna listen to all my stuff.
Yes. I agree, and really, it's always on. You know, and every night before I go to bed, I'll actually listen to maybe a texture tape or maybe a track that I made or a video I made. And I'll try to just get into that flow before I go to sleep. I'll listen to some of my music because it helps my brain. It's for me really, and it kind of calms me down, and I feel good. Or at least I can think about it, and I'm like, yeah, I did something creative. You know what I mean? It makes me, it's like reassuring for me, and I've been trying to do that daily, just so I know, okay, even though I'm not like releasing a track this month or next month or whatever, I'm still creating something, and it's like a progression. You know, you're still getting that feedback, and it's been working for me.
Nice.
And I love it.
Glad to hear that.
I love it. So.
I'm gonna start listening to myself. It's just gonna be my jokes, though.
Do it. No, 100%. Like,
you can critique
it's worth it. And I even watch my own tutorial videos or my podcast videos. I'll listen to it just to listen to it. And I don't know if it's maybe because I enjoy hearing myself, which I don't all the time, but it just kind of happens to be that way. You know, but I just love consuming what I've created. I think is a good way to.
And I think you're kind of taking it back in and you're analyzing it, even if you're not consciously doing it. Like you're critiquing yourself and thinking about what am I going to do differently next time.
Exactly. And it gets
fresh
better.
ears. You kind of fresh ears listen to it.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I'll listen to it for I'll almost pass out listening to something, like listening to it on repeat.
Yeah.
Like last night, I literally was making a tune, and
Yeah.
it was midnight, and I'm just like falling asleep. I'm like, okay, cool. Something sounded weird, and I'm like, okay, where was that? And then I'll change it, literally. Like that, I do that like a lot, and for me that helps because I'm trying to make sure that I stay within the confines of something, but also create something that's different.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. So I guess that's it. I guess the last question, is there anything else you wanted to ask? I mean, we always like to ask about you talked about some challenges at least because you started your own record label, but what's one challenge that you've had to overcome trying to release your art and share your music?
Honestly, I'm sure everybody will say this, but it's the constant grind of social media.
Yeah, marketing, trying to get yourself.
Just trying to push it out there. But I found a way where I can make it organic, but also do it at my own pace. Because I'm not looking to blow up or anything anytime soon.
Not in a hurry.
Yeah, exactly. Because for me, I'm trying to create a craft, and I have proof of it with my YouTube videos, with my music. Like I think that's the biggest difference, and I tell artists all the time, I'm like, dude, even if you don't release music that people can consume, create something that's artistic, and then allow yourself to see it or hear it constantly as like a reminder, because it helps you grow.
Yeah, you can.
It's a constant feedback.
Back and forth.
Exactly, and so that's why I started uploading all the videos, recording my sets. Before I wouldn't record my sets, but now I'll do it because that helps me. I'll listen to my sets, and there are certain parts of what I did and certain, like in the set that I enjoy, and I'll try to recreate it and do different things, and I just try to grow and get better. Like I mean, even recently, I think it was 2 sets ago that I learned this new trick on the machine after 2 years of using it. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean?
Everything.
Yeah, it does. And really, the sets have grown since then.
Yeah, because of it.
And so it's just a constant thing of growth here, at least. And it's been fun. It's been super fun. Yep, exactly.
All right. Yeah, that's all. I like that. And like I said, I think that you've definitely found ways to be creative with your marketing. Like you said, I love that. Getting and meeting people in person and just kind of connecting that way and just growing organically.
It's a more tailored experience. I think I enjoy that more.
Because you're kind of meeting face to face to people that enjoy your art and making a connection that way.
Exactly. I mean, I'll talk to people.
More drawn to people, or more drawn to you because you're almost.
Man, I always wonder that, but I don't know. It's like, I think the last show I hid myself behind a speaker, so nobody really knew that somebody was playing music. They were like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I'll turn the corner, and they're like, bro, what the heck is all this? I'm like, chill, vibe, enjoy it. But it does. A lot of people are curious, and I think that's why setting up on the floor versus a stage is a big reason why I don't play at clubs.
Yeah.
Because you're separated. You're separated from the vibe, and that's why I enjoyed Boiler Room so much. So it's like you're in the crowd kind of almost, and there's people around you, and you're mixing and you're vibing with everyone around you. That energy, that free flowing energy.
Yeah.
And usually you don't get that with playing in a club or something like that. And so that's why when I started to perform places like the gallery, you're right there, and random people are like, hey man, what does that do? You want to press the button?
Right out.
It's super cool.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool. I'm like, dude. And I mean, even some of my set videos, you'll see people just like walk up and ask about it. I'm like, yeah, go for it. I don't mind. It's pretty tight just being able to see people say that, well, like that is cool. And I'll take the SP404 to parties sometimes, and we'll plug up, and if somebody will put their iPhone or whatever plugged in, and you can live mix whatever's coming through the signal. And so if you throw on your Spotify playlist, you can just live DJ right there.
Yeah.
It's super fun, and when everyone's getting turned, it's like a good party.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Cool. All right. Well, that's it, I think. Yeah, thanks so much.
I appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much. We were amazing.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. I love the philosophy too.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of random talk on my podcast.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
I didn't know you had a podcast. That's interesting.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Low Fidelity Dreams podcast. I am Arman, your host. We are today talking about a few random things, mainly about me, just so we can get things started, some of my goals, things that I want to accomplish as far as the near future, distant future, distant ether?
Yeah, so it's only 8 episodes right
Yeah,
now.
you've been
I'm
doing
working
that.
on doing season 2 soon, but it's just myself.
So you just kind of do different things about your stuff, or
Yeah, kind of how I got into the whole dark lo-fi glitch
Yeah,
and
I'll have to
my
check that out.
perspective.
So it's kind of like a story, pop
Yeah,
series.
yep, exactly. And it was in a time where I had that perspective shift.
Cool.
And I was like, okay, dude, I think I know this is working. And this was, I think, a year into
I
doing
see.
Ex Machina, where I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let's do a podcast where I can
Yeah,
talk about this
yeah.
journey. And I listen back to it all the time. I'm like, damn, yeah, that's very true of how I progressed. And like the person I was in that moment to before was insanely different. It was crazy, but yeah,
That's
it was,
cool.
It was worth being able to put it out, and it's on all the platforms.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff,
you can
so.
find. Like I said, I didn't realize you had that, but I guess it's been out for a while.
Actually, it's on Spotify and YouTube only. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
So it's Low Fidelity Dreams.
Oh, okay. Nice. I'll definitely check that
I'm
out.
gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I love
I'll
that.
do your intros
Do,
and outros.
yeah. Okay, so I guess that's it. I mean, I got some upcoming events we want to shout out.
Yeah,
so,
you want to do some events?
Because we have the first event. We have one of the people over there. Do you want to come talk about your event for a minute? Mike, okay. So, we want to talk about some upcoming events for this weekend. We have Mycelium Gallery Spotlight Artists Reception, and we have the artists here to talk about it a little bit. But yeah, so this is Elena Anderson. How are you, Elena?
I'm great. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for letting us use your space to interview Arman. And but yeah, we wanted to let you talk a little bit about your show coming up. It's going to be Saturday, April 20th from 6 to 9 at Mycelium Gallery.
Right here in this gallery, on this wall behind me.
Yeah, what kind
Yes.
of art are you gonna have? Are you gonna have some? I know you have some different things going on, like glass blower.
Yeah, we have the B Jerks Glassworks. He'll be here with some of his glass, and also he should be doing some glass demos.
Yeah.
Yes, doing that. Yeah. And then my art is it's very textural, and I would say like dreamy landscape, abstract, dreamy landscape. I work a lot. I'm inspired by nature, but also just the chaos of nature. So my work's very. My show's called Harnessing Chaos because I do a lot of chaotic painting, and then I work to make it look cool, like I don't know how you would say that. Make it look like a part of nature.
Right.
Because nature is very chaotic looking. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, well, we're very excited about your show. I know you've been working very hard on it. You're gonna have a lot of pieces, some jewelry even.
Yeah, I will have sculpture, jewelry, some clothes that I've
Yeah.
made, because I've worked with so many different kinds of mediums.
I always forget that you did that kind of a lot of clothes, like alterations, tailoring.
Prairie Rebellion,
Yeah.
fashion shows.
So that'd be fun
Yeah.
to see that come back a little.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for talking to us about it.
Thank you.
So yeah, check it out. Is it a ticketed event?
It is a ticketed event,
Okay.
$10.
Yeah, and you can find-
buy the tickets online
Yeah.
at the website or at the door.
MyceliumGallery.com.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
that's it. Okay, so the next one, yeah, do you want to read this, I guess?
The paint and sip?
Yeah, this is our friend, well, one of our friends is an artist here, actually, that has
nice.
stuff here, Amanda Salter, but this is her event.
All right, paint and sip with Impermanent State. All right, Saturday, April 20th, 7 p.m. Calling all fellow weirdos. Do you love the bizarre things in life? Do you find a little spark of joy at the more peculiar and the odd? Then you've wait, hold up. I can't read. Then you've found the perfect place to be. Join local artists in Permanent State around the Dock Bar for a night of eccentricity while you paint a
That was good.
handcrafted, one-of-a-kind wood-burned piece. I'm gonna let you know right now, this
I didn't write this. by the
bigger than
way.
how high I am. So let's. No, I'm just kidding. This is me normal. Weirdos unite for a wonderfully offbeat evening of sipping, painting, and shenanigans. Spread the weird and thrive. Tickets are $38. Includes one drink. sailorinthedock.com/events. All right, that's at Sailor in the Dock. Great place.
Yeah. So yeah, this is gonna be. I talked to Amanda about this, or she told me that she's making these wood. She does wood burning art. She has some here in the gallery, but it's so she does that, and then but this is you with that price you get a piece that she's made, and then it's all their unique pieces, and you paint them at the event.
Nice.
So you get a really cool piece too.
Plus a drink.
Yeah, I mean it's really fun.
The drink alone costs $20.
Okay, so yeah, do you know Amanda? Do you know a purpose?
Yeah, she actually has some pretty neat art.
Yeah, yeah, it's exciting. I'm glad that she's doing this kinds of things too. So that'll be fun. And then the last one we wanted to talk about is a fun one that our friends, the Martin Dupross, is putting on the same day. These are all the same day, Saturday, April 20th. It's very busy.
I mean, it's a very busy day.
Busy
Come see
weekend.
us at all of them.
No, well, okay, so yeah, they're doing, the Martin Dupross is presenting a film that they made. It's Dogma, the remake, as we remember it. It's a short from memory remake of the 1999 Kevin Smith film Dogma, which is not available on streaming. It's out of print on DVD, and it's owned by the Weinsteins. That's the reason. So they decided to just make it again. So it's really fun. I haven't seen it yet. She told me it's about 35 minutes, so it's not
Nice.
like, but it's a shot. They remade it from memory. They didn't rewatch it.
Because they couldn't find it.
I mean, you can't,
Was it really 35 minutes?
No, yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the exact runtime. So, yeah, I'm really excited, but we're gonna be there because I asked them I wanted to interview them for that, and then so they came up with the idea we're gonna do their Q&A after the event. It's free. If you wanna come out, it starts at 9. The show starts at 9 p.m. It's at Flick's Brew House, 8590 Broadway Extension in Oklahoma City, and it's a free showing. Starts at 9. Theater 4. Just show up.
It's gonna be hilarious.
It's gonna be awesome. So we can't wait for that. So yeah, that's it. All right. Well, thanks everyone.
Guys, we appreciate it. Thank you for
Thanks,
coming out
Arman.
again. Good luck. Good to find another Yu-Gi-Oh
Yeah.
friend.
Yes.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
I'll take about
See
an
ya.
hour.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. I'll do
Ah, these are fun.
Yeah, dude.
That was really good.
Thank you.